In this video, we'll be talking about the next upcoming major storm system that's forecast to impact the entire United States. This storm system will bring snow for the north, severe weather for the central, and cold weather behind it before another snowstorm that could impact the United States with heavy snowfall as winter is coming very, very quickly. Welcome everybody, my name is Shubhamnat, and thanks for all the support we've been getting on the channel. We've been seeing a nice growth. Tomorrow there might be a YouTube short, I'll talk about it, but I'm planning on potentially going at a storm chase next week as we discuss to you guys about the next major storm system that's coming to the United States. Alright everybody, so we're here at Tropical Tidbits. Be looking at the GeoFast and the European model as well as the Canadian model. First we'll be showing you guys how the temperature wise and what's about to happen. So currently we're still seeing this historic cold temperatures. In fact, there are freeze warnings all the way into state of Louisiana. I'll pull it up right now. You guys can see this watches and warning really quickly. Here it is. You got the blues are the freeze warnings, frost advisory in the light blue. So you got freeze warning all the way to the coastline of Mississippi and Louisiana as well. And what we expect to occur is a pattern change. We're about to get very, very warm temperatures. In fact, we might get records in the same region where we had record cold, like in Nebraska, Iowa, and Illinois. What's going to happen is, as this moves into the 24th and 25th to 24th to 26th, once we get something like this, cold air behind it with warm air right next to it, a clash of two seasons, that means we're going to get severe weather up in the middle, and we expect some strong storms from Peoria all the way down to Texas. And to the north we expect some snow. But once this continues to occur, a clash between warm and cold air, this is usually common in the springtime where we get the big tornado outbreaks. Usually occurs when, even in Dixie Alley tornado outbreaks we get in the winter time. It's because you get a record heat out ahead of the cold front, and the cold front is going to have a lot of shear, and with cold air that's going to try to move, and usually when you get cold and warm air mixing together, you have storms in the middle. And before we get back into some historic cold, and in fact, the end of the month could be very, very cold for the eastern United States before we get back to some heat, warmth, and it'll be just back and forth. So since it's just back and forth between cold and warm, I expect some severe weather to continue, and the common area will be the Midwest. This is the time of year where we get the second wave of severe weather, so let me talk to you guys about that. But let's first show you guys what the temperature is going to look out the next few days. So we're starting to you guys where it is today. A lot of cold temperatures, still very cold tomorrow morning. We'll start to see this warmth that's out ahead in the Central Plains. It's 50s and 60s, but look at that, 80s up in Kansas, mid 70s in Iowa, 70 degrees in Peoria. Usually when we get in the 70s or 60s, you know that severe weather is going to come. It's just a given fact that we're going to be in the look at 86 all the way in either South Dakota, New South Dakota, 76 in Mason Cities, 77, 78 near Burlington, Iowa, 76. So look at this region. A couple days of this warm air, it's going to give us a lot of atmospheric conditions. We have a lot of energy for storms to develop, and this keeps getting warmer and warmer. But then you can see the stark cold front. This could produce some severe weather, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, and I'll talk about the snow as well. But once you get a warm temperature out of it, we're going to get a shot of cold air, which would usually mean severe weather, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Before we get some very cold temperatures, look at this. It'll be in the 20s for high temperatures, and it looks like another shot of Arctic air might come back relatively soon before we get back a little bit warmer temperatures at the end of the month. So we'll show you guys, we'll take a look at the precip, and we'll probably zoom in for the north central first, and then we'll talk about the south central as well. So this is north central. We're going to be talking to you guys mostly for the severe weather, because that's where the severe weather is going to mostly be. Then we'll talk about the snow a little bit later, but the 24th, I want to circle that day. Monday, October 24th. You're going to have a warm front that's going to be moving to north and east. Right about here will be the warm front from Minneapolis south. Will be the severe weather chance. and as it develops, especially in Missouri and southwest Illinois, for Quincy down to Galesburg, these areas we see the dark green and the yellow. These are gonna be the storms to watch out that could produce. Another thing, there'll be a lot of shear. So if you get individual storms to develop around this time, you might get them to rotate, and they could produce tornadoes. If not, they'll be mostly damaging wind. As you can see, this looks like a line of storms would develop between 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock across central and western Illinois, and it'll march its way east. And they'll probably weaken as it gets towards Chicago, but it'll be pretty strong in St. Louis downstate as well, and will look towards east. So the weather will continue into the next overnight, and then march its way east. It'll weaken a little bit, but still severe weather for Kentucky and southern Indiana on Wednesday before it goes away. So also now we're going to take a look at the South Central as well for Monday's forecast. So Monday it might be the biggest severe weather is Monday. So we'll take a look at the South Central. So we talked about this. As you can see, we're going to have some showers in the morning. The warm front's way up there, and then you can see these right here for central Missouri, northeast Oklahoma. These will be the big storms that could develop, and they'll march its way east. There'll be a lot of rain because we'll talk about this as well, as there might be a major hurricane impacting Mexico in the next few days. That'll bring in a lot of moisture, colliding with the cold front. Will be a lot of flooding for eastern Texas and in Oklahoma, which they need. This region, pretty much the entire state of central Texas, are going to get some beneficial rainfall. These are going to be big storms, more like a line that might develop across Arkansas, Louisiana, and move its way east. A lot of severe weather for the south. I think the south will get the worst of the severe weather. But look at that, Kentucky, Alabama, Louisiana. This is the time of year once you get snowstorms, you always get Dixie Alley outbreaks. We could see, unfortunately, a few tornadoes likely in the next few days. So let's also look at how much rainfall in the south, because it's going to be very beneficial rainfall. Look at that. Pretty much from I-35, which includes Dallas, to east, you'll see 2 to 4 inches of rain. Even into Illinois, you might get some heavy rain. These are mostly due to those big thunderstorms that will develop. So now we'll take a look at the tropics really quickly to show you guys what's happening in right now. So we'll be taking a look. We're gonna go to the Pacific. We're gonna go to the North Pacific and show you guys. We're gonna go to the Eastern Pacific to show you guys what's forecast to develop in the next few days. Why it may actually this hurricane that's forecast to develop rapidly intensify might play a role into some rainfall for Texas and other parts. So as you can see, we're gonna quickly show you guys what the National Hurricane Center is saying really quickly for you guys to see what we're talking about. For the East Pacific, this guy right here, it's about 100% chance of developing in the next 48 hours and the next 5 days. And this is forecast to be a major hurricane impacting southwest Mexico. I will show you guys how it is forecast to impact the GFS. Look at that, it's going to be a 970 landfall, and as this moves in, it's going to get sucked in by the mountains, but as it keeps developing, it's going to produce some rain in South Texas, and it will collide with the cold front and squeeze out a lot of moisture, which is why East Texas will get a lot of rainfall. So we're going to look at the consensus so you guys can see everything that's going to go on away. We'll show you how much precip is expected as well really quickly. How much total precip you can see from this cold front that's going to come in, the severe weather, pretty much from period all the way down to the Gulf Coast. You'll get some severe weather. Now we'll quickly look at the Canadian model to show you guys what the Canadian model is saying. It's a little bit slower, so let's take a look at the Canadian model. So the Canadian model showing you same storm system that's going to dive from the Rockies into Texas. This is a Colorado low. Usually, Colorado lows produce the most amount of snow for the great for the middle of the country as well as for Illinois. But since it's happening this time of year, we're gonna see some severe weather right about here. This is more into Tuesday into Wednesday. It's a little bit of a slow system. It's a little bit more north. Brings the cold warm front all the way to UP, Michigan, which will be very interesting because they have a foot of snow on the ground, so you might get a lot of fog and a lot of flooding there. And then all this right here will be severe weather with storms to develop and line downstate, down across before it moves its way to north and east. So now we talk to you guys about one more thing before we end the video, which will be the snow up in the north. Alright, so we're here showing you guys about the snowstorm now. That's forecast to develop in the north central region. This is mostly for Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota, as well as the Rockies. So first take it out to northwest. Let's go to northwest and show you guys this really quickly. As it's developing, it's forecast pretty much by Saturday to impact the northwest with some snow in the mountains and rain in the valleys. And it's going to dive its way to the south and to the east into Colorado. And as it dives its way south and east like it normally does the Colorado low, we're going to see some major snowfall for the Rocky Mountains and for the plains for Montana and the Dakotas as well as Wyoming and Colorado. Seeing some heavy snow, it's going to move its way. So what it's going to do is going to take a U shape. It's going to go down this way where my mouse is, and it's going to move its way to northeast. As it does that, just severe weather we talked about, it's going to drag in cold air out behind it, and all these ice bars tucked in with a 980 pressure could produce a potential blizzard for North Dakota and South Dakota before it moves its way into Canada, and another round of storms. And this could be beneficial, producing rain as far south as San Francisco, which you don't normally get this time of year, but it looks like we might get our first batch of rain by the end of the month in San Francisco, which is really, really beneficial for California. And we might see our first atmospheric river event of the season for the West Coast. And it looks like a lot of rainfall coming up. So for the rest of the month, how much rain we'll look at for the West? We'll take a wait till the end of the month. You can see you might get 2 inches near Redding, California. But Seattle, all these places, expecting 3 to 6 inches rain. Very good, beneficial rain. Even for Oregon, which will help limit the wildfire. Southern California, not yet, but it's getting pretty close for you guys to get some rainfall. How much snowfall are we expecting out here? Getting some beneficial snowfall up the Cascades, a little bit in the Sierra Nevadas, the Rocky Mountains, getting a lot of snow, up to a foot of snow, and then in the prairies, also close to a foot of snow for North Dakota and Wyoming. So let's look at the Canadian model real quickly. We'll see what the difference is between the Canadian model and the GFS, and I will end the episode video here. So as you can see, it's a little slow, but they show about the same time Saturday. It will impact. Currently it's in Alaska, and this one is going to be impacting near the northwest with some rainfall, some snow from the Cascade Mountains, some more snow for the Rocky Mountains in Idaho. Again, it's going to dive south, but this one's going to produce some more rain farther south, like near San Diego, Los Angeles. They got some rain a few days ago. Continues to give some more moisture for Arizona, Colorado, and New Mexico. Utah, this one's definitely showing more snow for Utah, which is really good, because Utah's been missing out of the monsoon season. It's not been impacting Utah a lot. Getting some heavy snow near Salt Lake, near Yellowstone, and even close to Las Vegas, getting some heavy rainfall. This is definitely a much southern track, which will be really good for snowstorms in the wintertime. And this one shows less snow for the Rockies because it takes a southern track up for the northern Rockies, but more snow for the southern Rockies, which I think, if this occurs, which is a possible solution, this will be more beneficial for more people getting some snowpack already built, and then you can see some severe weather. But if it goes a little bit more south, it'll take a little bit longer time for it to impact the central plain, which we have to wait and see, and then some more snowfall for the Rockies as well. So let's see the total precip. You can see it's a little less for Northwest, but more for California. In fact, you might get an inch, half an inch of rain for San Diego. Plentiful moisture for the west. This will be beneficial, and you can see some severe weather as well as some snow up in Minnesota. How much snow is that expecting? Well, look at this. This will be really good for this time of year. Snow up in the mountains near Grand Canyon, Flagstaff. A lot of snow in the San Juan Mountains. A lot of snow for the Rockies. Utah gonna get pummeled. California, Sierra Nevada might get a foot of snow. This will be really good no matter what. This is a good start to the season for the West. And then if you look up here, maybe 2 to 4 inches of snow. Lot and nothing for eastern Montana and South Dakota. Because this will, well guys, thanks for watching. We gotta monitor the situation. We'll record another video tomorrow and let you know how the models they're more consistent. But thanks for watching. Subscribe, and I'll catch you guys back for another video. Stay safe, everybody, and enjoy the rest of the day. Goodbye, everybody.